Coming up next on City Corner, we learn about programs designed to help students find a career path after high school. Please stay tuned. Welcome to City Corner. I'm your host, Melanie Adams. Today, we're talking about programs designed to help high school students find a career path after high school. Joining me first is June McAllister-Fowler, Chair of Pathways to Prosperity. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first, I guess the big question is, tell me a little bit about Pathways to Prosperity. What is it?
I actually use the shorthand,
okay, good.
Which is just Pathways. I call
Even
it Pathways, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is an initiative. I'm not going to call it a program. Okay. It's an initiative. It's a new way of thinking about what happens for young people once they leave high school. You know, for the last few years, we've been very, very focused on, in order to have a successful life, the career that you want, the kind of life that you want to lead, you need to leave high school and go straight to college. And for a number of children, that is a very, very good path. But we have found that for a majority of children, that's not necessarily the best path. In St. Louis City Public Schools, only about 1 out of 4 kids, actually in the state of Missouri, about 1 out of 4 kids who leave high school go on to complete college. And so when you think about that, what happens to those other 3 kids? Right. So the state looked at ways to be very, very proactive and start thinking about how do we create a path for all kids to be successful. So Pathways is all about identifying those career paths for kids that are not necessarily going to require a 4-year degree. We do believe that all kids need to graduate twice,
right,
meaning they need to leave high school and they need to get another certificate, degree, something, so that they can be prepared for a successful career.
Right. Well, I think one of the things we were talking about earlier before the show, it's very interesting because years ago that wasn't necessarily the case. The thought was not that every child needed to go to college to be successful. They just needed to be prepared to do something after high school.
Exactly.
And so I wonder when that shift happened. Like, when was it decided that all of a sudden college was the way of the future?
Yeah. And again, I think college is very important, but I don't think college is the only way for young people to have a successful career. You know, as we were talking before the show started, 100 years ago when I was in high school, Sodan High School, I have to say that, we had DECA. You know, we had kids who were preparing to go into clerical fields and preparing a career as, you know, secretaries, administrative assistants, or who were preparing to go into the trades, preparing to go into construction. Now, I think part of what happened is our economy changed, and we went from being kind of a manufacturing-based economy to a service-based economy. So that job at General Motors, when the plant was located at Union and Natural Bridge, wasn't there anymore. So I think that's part of why you started to see some of that shift to everybody must head to college. And again, I think college is fabulous, but we've got to help children and families understand that there are other pathways for them.
Right, and I think an interesting thing that came out of the report was also, in addition to getting students interested in it, you also have to get them to overcome the unfair stigma associated with technical programs sometimes. And it seems like that came out a little bit in the report, in terms of a lot of families may have thought that if the child isn't on a college path, it's not as good. And you know, as you mentioned, if your child is not college ready, or that's not where they need to learn the skills to get their career, it doesn't make any sense, but there's still that stigma attached to it.
There is, and I think you said it best earlier. All of a sudden, the mindset, and not only for children but for parents, was that my child is only successful if I am shipping them off in August to start that 4-year college career. And what Pathways seeks to do, based on studies that were done at Harvard University, the Graduate School of Education, is identify those careers that don't require necessarily a college degree, but allow children to, you know, find their passions, find their path, and be very, very successful. You know, if you look at traditional college students, that number has been declining over time. And, you know, a lot of college kids now either do it online, they have done something else and then gone to college a little later. So, you know, there are lots of paths to a career, and that's what we want to help kids do.
And I think even if you look at the traditional college education, your first 2 years, you're figuring out what you want to do. You're not allowed to usually choose your major till your third year.
Absolutely.
And so really, what is the difference in if a child goes on to some type of tech program for 2 years and is done? And so I think, you know, that will be part of the struggle, is figuring out how to get over that that negative mentality that is out there about the program. Well, I guess, how did St. Louis find out about the program? Because it is nationwide, correct?
It is nationwide. Again, it was started by the Graduate School of Education at Harvard University, and, you know, this was serendipitous. There was a person who is a St. Louis native who was in Boston and saw this program and thought, you know, we need this in St. Louis. She connected with Chris Nicastro, the superintendent of education for the state of Missouri. And then they just started sharing this concept with not only educators, but also people in the business community. And I work for BJC Healthcare. You know, we've got 13 hospitals. And while a number of our positions do require folks with a college degree, we've got a lot that don't. And, you know, folks can have great, great careers, but, you know, there are certain things you have to be able to do. You know, you have to be able to read, you have to be able to do, you know, simple math, you know, those kinds of things in order to get hired. And so part of what Pathways helps to do is connect what's going on in the classroom with careers that are out there that aren't going to require you to have a 4-year degree.
Now, what other organizations or community organizations or corporations are involved besides BJC in the program?
You name them, they're there. I mean, Boeing is at the table, members of the financial services industry, you know, Monsanto, most of the large companies in St. Louis, because again, we see this as, you know, the workforce of the future is very, very important to all companies that are here and to all of us who are members of this community. You know, we want to see young people succeed.
So what type of changes, so if I have a child in St. Louis Public School and they're just say a sophomore or junior, maybe a sophomore, what type of changes, how would I know this program was in place?
Well, the fabulous thing is, again, this is going through the Department of Education for the state, but St. Louis is the pilot city.
Oh, okay.
And the St. Louis Public Schools, they are the pilot school district. So we're just now starting, we're just now getting our sea legs, but there will be lots of information for teachers, for counselors, for students, for parents, so that they can figure out, you know, how to get connected to Pathways. You know, the thing that parents, I think, and students need to understand is the best thing your child can do is, I mean, and it's the thing we've known all our lives, you know, study, get good grades, and find what they're passionate about. You know, find what they're passionate about. If you love math, you know, if you love English, we're going to help you determine those careers that can help you be very, very successful. Again, whether you're matriculating at a 4-year college, whether or not you're going on to the community college system, which we're very, very fortunate. We have a very, very strong community college system here that is very connected to the business community here. So we at BJC, we have a partnership with the St. Louis Community College where our techs, some of our technicians, lab techs, are actually trained at the community college, do their, you know, practicums or their clinicals at the hospitals, and then get hired. And so again, great career.
I think I must have been reading an article in the paper, and they talked about how it seems like only people looking to get into their second or third career have realized the value of the community college, and that's what they're doing, and they're going and they're taking those courses in order to make that career shift, and that idea hasn't trickled down to the 18-year-olds to realize, oh, this is a place where I can go and start a career.
Yeah, I think it's getting better. You know, I think as the cost of college has gotten more and more expensive, people are looking at community colleges as a very, very valid way to get entry into a career or entry into the next 2 years at a 4-year college.
Well, and hopefully one of the other things, and I know your co-chair in this program is Kelvin Adams, the superintendent. One of the issues that always seems to come up, whether it's the community college, a four-year college, or even if they're going straight into the workforce, is really their preparation. So it seems like a lot of work will need to be done, especially with pathways, in terms of preparing them to be able to go into a tech program and kind of looking at, and not necessarily remedial, but making sure they have the right skills to be able to enter into those types of programs.
Absolutely, and I think one of the other benefits of pathways will be that young people will be able to see a definitive connection between their math class and what they're going to do in their career, their English class, and the ability to write, how that's going to help them as they matriculate through their careers.
It's that age-old question that we all ask, either is this going to be on the test, or how is this going to help me in later life? And now they're able, you're able to answer that. Okay, well, you want to go into drafting, you want to go into some type of civil engineering. Here's why you need to learn math so your bridge doesn't fall down.
Exactly.
And so hopefully making those connections with students will really help. So as we're, I guess, talking about the program, is there a number or a website if parents are interested? How do they kind of get more information?
I think the best website to send them to is the Department of Secondary Education website
so
for Missouri. DESE's website is the best one. There's actually a link to Pathways to Prosperity on that website. You can learn more. Again, we were so happy to be selected. It was a competitive, we put ourselves in a competitive process, and we were one of the 6 states selected.
Oh, I didn't realize it was only 6 states.
Yeah, it was only 6 states. So we were very, very fortunate.
Wonderful. And how long does the pilot program last, and then when would they start expanding it to other districts?
The pilot program, I think, is scheduled to last about 2 years, about 24 months. And then, hopefully by then we've learned enough to share with others and to really, really have a deep, deep well in St. Louis. Right. And again, I think this is fabulous for the children and families who use the district.
Right. And also I think this is another great way to try to keep young people in the region, because part of the reason why you have young people leaving is because they can't find jobs.
Right.
And I think this is a way to be able to say St. Louis is interested in you staying. We're trying to provide you opportunities to train you with job skills, and then be able to kind of stay and contribute to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very, very nice triangle between the State Department of Secondary Education, the St. Louis Public Schools, and the business community of St. Louis, all stepping up to say we want to help young people get on a good path.
Well, we definitely look forward to learning more about Pathways and seeing it grow over the next 2 years. Maybe at the end of 2 years, we'll have you back to come and talk about all the wonderful things Pathways has done for us. So I'd like to thank you for being on City Corner. Please stay tuned. Next up, we'll be talking about programs in the St. Louis Public Schools that happened this summer that taught students some new skills and introduced them to new careers. Please stay tuned.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
In times of peace and times of war, in times of joy and times of pain. We need them, they need us, and we need you. The USO, until everyone comes home.
There's a monster in the kitchen.
Keep innocent things from triggering an asthma attack. Learn how to stop their asthma attacks at noattacks.org.
Monsters can be anywhere.
Welcome back to City Corner. Today we're talking about programs in the St. Louis Public Schools designed to help students determine their future career paths. Joining me now is Tim Morrell from St. Louis Public Schools to talk a little bit about some wonderful programs that happened this summer. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first, I think the two programs we're going to talk about are from the College of Pharmacy,
Correct.
a program that had about 30 students, and then Lynn State Technical Program, which was another program you had that had about 15 students. So I think as we begin talking about the pharmacy program, let's have us run a few of the images we have from this summer.
Okay.
Students look like they were having a great time.
All right.
But talk us first, I guess, a little bit with how the program started. So who came up with the idea to partner with the College of Pharmacy, and then what happened after that?
Okay. Well, earlier last year, beginning of the school year, Dr. Adams, the superintendent, and I took a visit to St. Louis College of Pharmacy. We talked for a while with Dr. Pieper, and he was very interested in having the students come and visit the College of Pharmacy, spend more time there, because they actually want to recruit more students from St. Louis Public Schools. But one of the interesting things about it was he wanted to start the kids at an early age. So rather than have high school kids come and, you know, spend time on the campus, which they can do through a couple of other programs that they sponsor, he said, well, what about middle school students? Let's do something with middle school students. So after that discussion, I worked with Freddie Wills, who's the director of diversity for St. Louis College of Pharmacy. We put together a program for middle school students. So they spent the first week in June full, you know, on the college campus, and every day was something different about pharmacy. So it was really a fantastic program.
Well, and it was interesting. I wonder, because even at that age in middle school, I wouldn't have known that pharmacy was a specialized career. You kind of don't know the training that people have who are giving you the pills behind the counter.
Right.
And so did it really open a lot of the students' eyes to, wow, this is a career, this could be a job?
Absolutely. In fact, it opened my eyes. I visited them about 3 times during that week. It was amazing to learn that, you know, there are different types of pharmacists. There's pharmacy in general, but, you know, that's the pharmacists they're used to when they go into CVS or to Walgreens, but there are also pediatric pharmacists, there's geriatric pharmacists, different types of pharmacists, and they were taught by actual, you know, teachers at the school during their week there. So yeah, it was very enlightening.
Now, during this exploration, so this was for 7th or 8th grade? Or
7th and 8th grade. We had
7th and
15
8th
7th and 15 8th graders.
Now, is there any follow-up with them afterwards, after they've participated in the program, as they enter then into 8th grade and 9th grade, to kind of follow up with them on it?
We plan to do that, and the interesting thing is that the teachers at the, you know, at the pharmacy college are very interested in giving the students every bit of information that they wanted to have. So when the week was over, the teachers actually sent me information that I've also forwarded to the teachers at McKinley, where the students came from. So they're following up in that way as well.
Great. Now, how were the students selected for the program? Was it an interview process, application, volunteer?
Actually, it was volunteer, but we chose McKinley because of the time frame. There just wasn't enough time to go out to all the different schools. So this year it was McKinley. Hopefully next year there'll be students from different schools.
Okay, so that was my next question. So you do plan to continue the program next summer and expand the number of students involved?
Correct.
Good, good. Well, I guess moving on then to the Lynn State Tech program.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that program. That program had a few more students in it, and it seemed like it was a little longer in scope.
This one was a 3-week program. It was for rising juniors, students that were going to be seniors this fall in St. Louis Public Schools.
Okay.
We had about 30 applicants, and the whole idea was to introduce students to civil and construction technology.
Are these some of our students standing on the stairs?
Right, yeah. These were the students that were interested in civil and construction technology, and they had to go through an application process, which of course included taking a look at their grades. They were also interviewed. We had an interview committee that consisted of people from St. Louis Public Schools as well as staff from Lynn State Technical College. We wanted to make sure that the students were capable of completing the program and also that they really wanted to do it. So they were there along with their parents, and turned out to be really exceptional.
Now, what did a typical day look like for the Lynn State students?
Busy. They spent anywhere from 4 to 5 hours in the classroom, the various aspects of Lynn State, and if you haven't been to that campus, it's amazing what they have there. Although, as Dr. Adams told me, or asked me when we were driving there last year, where are we going? Because it is in a remote area, but an outstanding campus. And so 4 to 5 hours in the classroom, but going through the various aspects of civil and construction technology. And in order to augment what they learned in the classroom, they took a trip to Jefferson City to the Department of Transportation to learn about how the roads are constructed and that sort of thing, and also visited the offices of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, had a chance to visit with the commissioner. So just an amazing program that showed students that, you know, there's more to life than just what you read about, and what you don't know about is just as important as what you do know.
Right. Well, I think it's wonderful because I think both of these programs, as well as pathways, students don't know what careers are. They don't know how many are out there. So I think, you know, a lot of the things that they're being introduced to, they're like, wow, I didn't know you could make a career out of that. I didn't know that was a field. And so I think these type of opportunities are really useful in broadening students' minds and experiences.
Right. And they also learned that getting college credit isn't as easy as just going to class.
Right.
It was a very, you know, heavy class load for, you know, 3 weeks. But they did get 3 academic college credits out of it.
Now, what are you following up, similar to my question about the College of Pharmacy, how are you following up with these students after their summer experience?
I've talked with several of them, you know, since they've been back in school. One student is actually planning to go to Lynn State to major in civil and construction technology. So even if we get one, it's worthwhile, you know. The other thing is they also earned a Missouri Department of Transportation certification in aggregates, so they know about rocks and how they work into putting, you know, a road base down and constructing roads. So yeah.
Good. I'm glad you explained that because I was going to ask what aggregate was. So.
As one of the teachers told me at Lynn State, it's all about the rocks.
Well, then I wonder if, because I'm thinking if I'm a parent listening to this conversation, are there broad enough opportunities across the St. Louis district for more students to get involved in these types of programs? So as you look at next summer, you know you'll have 2. Are there opportunities to expand to other either universities or other fields?
We hope there are. We're always looking for opportunities to partner with someone to offer the students more options. They really need to know what's out there.
Right. Yeah. And so, and I know another thing we have coming up, this isn't the summer program, but Beaumont High School, which will be the kind of the new tech school for the district, will be opening soon. Correct.
We have a ribbon cutting next Monday, the 17th of September. Really excited. You know, that Beaumont used to be a high school, but now it's going to become a tech center. I should say it is a high school.
Right.
but it's going to become a tech center, and we have 6 programs there now and very state-of-the-art facilities that will be finished Monday.
Now, what exactly is a tech center? So if you're saying it's a high school, it's a tech center, what is a tech center?
The difference is that the students from the other high schools in St. Louis Public Schools can come to Beaumont, except for those going to, for example, Clyde Miller, which is also a tech center.
Yeah.
But they will be able to come to Beaumont half a day, do their tech studies, and then go back to their high schools for their core studies.
Okay, and then looking at those programs, what are the 6 programs? I know culinary and I know cosmetology. Those are my 2.
We have construction trades, indoor-outdoor maintenance, and you have health sciences, and you have respiratory therapy.
Okay. Well, I think the interesting thing, because we talked a little bit earlier about this, and not to name other institutions, but there are other institutions that may charge upwards of $15,000 or $20,000 for very similar programs for our students.
Right.
So this, again, is another wonderful opportunity for our students to gain career skills as juniors and seniors in high school without paying $15,000 to $20,000.
Absolutely. That's why it's critical that they know, the public knows what we have to offer. You know, parents would spend $20,000, as you say, when the students graduate or after graduation. They can get the same certification at no cost or very little cost with us in St. Louis Public Schools.
Right. I think you said currently there are a few students enrolled in each of the programs, but what is about the total that will be going to Beaumont starting this year?
Starting this year, I think we're looking at about 130 in the tech program.
Oh, okay, that's
right.
not bad at all.
Right.
And so is it still possible to get into the tech program, or is it closed off? You have to wait again until next year. So if I'm a parent and I'm like, my child needs to go to the tech program.
They can still get in, but it's very close.
Okay.
Very close to the, but they could still get in.
Okay. Well, I think, and I'm assuming all of this information then is available on St. Louis Public Schools website.
Correct.
Now, you mentioned the partnerships that you had with both Lynn State and with the College of Pharmacy, and those were just kind of meetings setting up. I guess if people are interested, we could have people watching who are like, wow, I think that'd be wonderful if my organization or institution were interested. How would they go about that process? Was it a long process? Did you guys meet for a year and then figure it out? Was it a few months and then Dr. Adams was like, make it happen?
All of that. But basically, it took about 6 to 7 months to get everything.
So that's
It didn't take a long time to put it together. And if all they need to do is just call the Division of Career and Technical Education, which is my office, and we'll talk about it, see what we can work out.
Well, also, I think one of the questions that we were discussing earlier with pathways, and I don't know if you, since you've been in the career tech field for a while, do you think it is kind of a stigma that some of the students may need to overcome in terms of signing up for a tech program versus a college prep or a 4-year preparatory program? Do you find that at all, or no?
I think in some instances that's the case, but I think the kids are pretty savvy nowadays in terms of what's good for them in terms of a future. Because of social media, they realize, they read the same stories that we do about the jobs that are available when you graduate from college, and actually the jobs that are not available.
Right.
But if you take a look at the tech road, what you can do after a couple of years, and sometimes after 1 year with a certification, you can make money. For example, our students that graduate from cosmetology can either start their own business, or they can go to college and make money while they're going to college and pay their own tuition.
Right. Well, I think it was interesting. Just this month, Newsweek's cover story had, is college a good investment anymore? And I think a lot of families are asking that question because I think in the past, again, as we mentioned in the previous segment, really looking at, there used to be that tradition of you spend all of that money, you go to a 4-year college, that determines success. But I think, you have a lot of success stories just out of this summer. I think the mere fact that a student said, hey, I think Lynn State Tech is for me, that's a success.
Exactly.
Just that exposure and really allowing students to see the variety of options.
Right.
And so I'm sure that families will be kind of calling and contacting you.
I hope they do.
It's
We'll
always
look
the
forward to
parents
that.
who are calling and
right.
kind of pushing their children in. So I think there will be some wonderful things happening both at Beaumont, and we look forward to as well next summer.
Right.
And I guess looking 3 to 5 years down the road, what is your dream or your wish for Beaumont, and how do you hope to see that program develop in 5 years?
What we'd like to do in 5 years is, and sooner if possible, is bring more programs into Beaumont.
Oh, okay, so it'll be more than the 6.
Hopefully there'll be more than the 6, and there'll be programs that are really state-of-the-art programs.
Okay.
One of the things that President Obama's administration would like to see is more programs, for example, green technology.
Yes.
Things like that are good for the economy as well as good for the students.
Well, again, congratulations on Beaumont opening this month. I think that will be a wonderful, not only for the students, but for the St. Louis community. And we look forward to catching up with you again to learn about all the wonderful things going on in St. Louis public schools, and specifically the tech program.
Great. Thank you very much.
So thanks again for joining us here on City Corner. If you'd like more information about Pathways, please check out the DESE website. If you'd like more information about the summer programs in St. Louis public schools, please check out slps.org. Thank you, and see you next time on City Corner.